Hello everyone, this is Here's Trivia. Welcome back to another episode of our Black Myth Wukong Let's Play. So we're back at the Yellow Flower Temple, and we have the final boss left. We are well equipped. We have our needle. I think I'm pretty happy with the build. We don't have... oh, we have one extra point. Where can I throw this point? We'll just leave it. I think it's fine. The most important part is we're missing quite a few codex entries. The last boss would be the final boss. But over here we're missing 5 elites, which given their position, I'm fairly sure these are going to be the Spider Sisters. The second sister is right here. The one below is definitely the oldest sister. And then 3, 4, 5, and probably Batia's daughter. So maybe for this final fight, we will have to deal with the spider siblings as well, in addition to the Centipede Taoist, the 100-Eye Demon Lord, who's the guy strolling around over there. Senior disciple, help me. And all the daughters are here too. I taught you how to set up this plot, and I give you my magical item, but yet you're defeated. When I actually saw him, I couldn't do it. And then the Destined One came, and I couldn't fight against him. I couldn't beat him. And he has wrecked the cave. Just a monkey. So rude. Your old wound is not healed. And now you have new wounds from the fight. Don't worry. I'll take care of you. Junior disciple. The item I gave you, do you still have it? I have it. So the relic, I think. I mean, even though you're not capable of finishing the job, but luring the Destined One here, that is a success. But the thing I borrowed you, I need it back now. The relic. I think she's gonna die from this. The second sister, the oldest sister. He needs it for his own power to fight us. I guess these will be 3 and 5? In the novel, he's super heartless. When the 7 sisters were captured, he did not care one bit. All he wanted was Tang Song's flesh. You guys don't understand, you know, my plan. If I can swallow the other relics, then I can free myself from the control of the Kunlun Mountain. And at that time, I can avenge you. You suffered your whole life. Time to die in peace. Oh, the spider's gonna help us in this fight to avenge their mother. Okay, I can live with that. Taoist scrolls, Taoist sword. Yeah, so he would technically be their, like, uncle figure in terms of their sect. Wait, I can't immobilize him? I guess we'll just hit him. He's not even paying attention to us. You guys don't want to take the path to the heaven? I'll do it myself. That actually kind of hurts. Oh, oh. Treating me like this? How can your mother, you know, be at peace in the underworld? So basically the dealing they have with crafting done using the spider and the other monsters, it's a deal with the Kunlun Mountain. So the Celestial Empress is on it. Oh, it's just us now. Dongtian, so like the Eastern Court. It's you who ruined my plot. Taoist electricity scrolls. That's like a little whip weapon going on there. We'll take out the status effect with that, and also maybe get a good hit on him. Or not. We should have hit him more when the spider girls were here. Poison. Ooh. Alright, get some stamina back. Ooh. We need stamina. Ooh. Directly from the sky, huh? Didn't want to use all the mana here. Pretty sure he's gonna have an eye form, given he's called the 100-Eye Demon. Wait, how did... Wait, he's invincible during that... Oh, this is the eye form. Use the needles, cut the eyes. Yep. So not a second form, just a second stage. Oh, swallows the sword. What is this? A trick? How did we get comboed? Ow. Whatever he did, it hurt. I think it's time for this. He's attacking a lot more with his body. Alright, he's on fire. I want to save enough mana for another invisibility in case we get status effect. Alright, this phase is a lot about his wiggling of his tail part. Ooh. He has a... Well, that doesn't look good. Fire now, huh? Every element. Oh no, knocked us out. That's the only thing I didn't want to see. Wait, did he just leave little... Okay, they disappear. No, I wanted to use the big head on him. Okay, hold on. We'll heal. Try to do a charge attack, and then the big head, I think he dies. Stay here. Oh no, we missed. It's okay, not the end of the world. Couple more hit. There we go. Teacher, come and save me. Oh, he swallowed her body whole. Not just taking the relic out. He absorbed her. Come to see her one final time. She get to see him one final time too. Turns around. You're just like during that time. Stupid. You're just as stupid as before, basically. He has to leave. Mother, she's gonna die. Batie can't stay. He can't. He's too close to Wukong, right? So all the celestial forces, whether they're the Buddha side or the Taoist side, will be targeting him. And if he admits that he has a daughter here, it's not going to be safe for her. And there we have it, the relic. It's a lotus pod with seeds inside. Cinematic time? Indeed. That's probably the Moon Palace. This is Batie when he was the Celestial Admiral. Lusting over, I guess, the lunar deity. Now, the artists who did this, they had an interview with them, and they took a lot of liberties with how they designed the lunar goddess, and it doesn't really make sense, but it's mainly for artistic reasons. And during this chase, he bumps into the lunar maiden, who falls in love with him, and she becomes that spider lady down there. You can see the same makeup that she had. Now, he doesn't realize it at this point. He's still chasing after the lunar deity. And this is to represent he gets punished, cast it down. And she comes down with him. She's chasing after love. This is probably the Drew clan estate. They're weavers, right? They make linen and clothes, and this is what we have here. But reincarnated as a pig, unfortunately. You would think she'd get spooked and leave, but no, she decides she's gonna be a monster too. This is the lake during the journey to the west with the 7 spider sisters, and Batya came here to seek out their master, also to seek out these bathing ladies. Turns himself into a catfish. Yep. Swims around the leg of all 7 in the novel, but here he recognizes that particular spider monster who is the lunar maiden from before. And they share their moment. There's a Chinese idiom called 鱼水之欢, the joy of the fish and the water. It's meant to symbolize sex. Makes sense here perfectly. Don't worry, I'm a monster now too. Zhu and Zhu. Spider and pig. Homophones. Her transformation. Right, but Batya is on his path towards Buddhahood. He's going the other direction. It's wrecked, right, after the result of rescuing Tang Seng. But Batya, I guess, keeps her alive in the game version of the story. And has to leave to continue the journey west. Wukong, Sha Seng, Tang Seng, and the horse waiting. Chapter 4 over. Your skills have improved, but you're still, stubborn and stupid. You hurt Batya and his lover, and also broke the plot of the deities above. Mortals, deities, everyone want to use this situation for their own benefit. But destiny is like a lover's tongue. Right? This relic is taste. And the lover's tongue is, you don't know if what they say is what they mean. And no one really knows if they actually want it or don't want it when they say something. We got one of the eyes. 2 more golden thread and an even rare quality clothing upgrade material. I think you can only get about 20 of these per run. Maybe actually only 14. The other 6 you get after you enter New Game Plus with the Tiger shop. But this one's definitely limited quantities and we're going to have to use it on crafting new gear instead of using it for upgrades. I think this is the higher tier weapon, right? This is the armor gold tier upgrade material. This is the weapon gold tier 1. This is the highest tier weapon, and this is the highest tier armor. We got a horn for weapon crafting. Okay. Alright, so once again, the story from the original novel mixed in here. Rain deity, the featherless bird monster that we fought from before with the Bajiao Shan. A bunch of bird creatures, Tai Shang. So Tai Shang Lao Jun, the deity who crafts all the pills in the heavens. So I think the fact these are all birds is just because they're fighting bugs. And Wukong transform his hair into 7 different types of birds to fight the 7 sworn sons of the spider ladies, and you can see the various bug monster the 7 sworn sons down below that are being fought. This is the centipede, 100-eyed demon. Being controlled by someone from above. So from his statement, he's being controlled by Kunlun. So the Kunlun Mountains, so the Celestial Empress who makes her base there would be the force kind of controlling him. Makes sense. She's the one who also keeps the Celestial Peach Orchard, and the peaches add 9,000 years to, you know, a deity's life. So she's really into sustaining immortality for the deities. The Spider Sisters. Right, I guess this would be the original 7 spider siblings. Or maybe not. Maybe they are the... Let's see if we can find our 4th sister. I don't think so. I think these are from the original story. Or that one's really old one, so maybe she is the lover of Bajie, and these all look younger. The one that's kind of fierce here might be the 2nd sister. This is the Black Hand Taoist, Arlangshen's sworn brother who got corrupted in the way. The poor rooster celestial constellation deity who totally corrupted. Alright, let's check these out.
From
the eastern skies, the deities. Right, so the explanation here is just that in the original novel, when dealing with these monsters, Wukong seek help from the Western world, right? The Buddhas, the Bodhisattva, right? Pilanpo Pusa is a Bodhisattva. He didn't actually ask for the Celestial Court to come help, but we have a lot of interaction with the Celestial Court here, so the developers are saying that perhaps Wukong asked in secret, and the birds that he summoned were actually birds from the Celestial Court to help. Just trying to connect the stories with the game version and the novel version. The big rooster is the son of Pilanpo, constellation deity. Right. The needle is a treasure that was crafted using his eye. And he also roosted, and the sound of his roosting killed the female scorpion. Ah, are these? No, they're not the scorpion. There's no scorpion in this drawing? Where are the scorpion and his 4 sons? I guess they didn't make the cut here. Alright, over here are like the 7 Oaththorn sons, the 7 different type of bug creatures. The positions in the Celestial Court keeps the same, but the deity might switch. Positions stay the same. Just like the spider monsters. There were 7 before. There are, you know, a 2nd generation of them now. So the belly button is highlighted because in their human form, according to the novel, that's where they spit out their threads. Is he the last entry left? No, Bajie is still here. We'll save the 100-eye for last. Can't cut his, you know, threads of relationship. Lamenting how Bajie could never cut his desires for love and lust, going from his days as the Celestial Admiral to the pig monster after the reincarnation, to Wukong, so basically his Buddhist name during the journey, and now even as the altar cleaner, or the cleanser of altars, that's his like title he got from Buddha after completing the journey. He still can't, release himself from his lust, essentially. But maybe that's a good thing. Maybe it's what makes him him. Right, so he was captured by Pilanpo back in those days, trapped in the Purple Wind Mountain, pleaded with those above, and was allowed to live. Yeah, most of the time when deities want to do something, they get proxies down below. And these proxies are like pawns. And even though they know they're pawns, they still dream. And sometimes are quite proud by the fact that they are chosen proxies of the deities. Right, so he's basically trying to break from that mold and try to absorb more power and perhaps break free of his control from above, as you can see here. Pretty neat. Alright, so we're going to actually move on to chapter 5 real quick and see if we can pick up a shrine. There's still a couple things we need to do in chapter 4. The sun sets on the red dust, but red dust typically means like the mortal realm or the material world oftentimes. When you become a Buddhist monk, you're saying goodbye to the red dust, right? You're severing your ties from the materialistic world. Ozzy is carrying us? What is that? They're thinking the same. What is that? They get back up? What are we dealing with here? Alright, we'll figure out who they are later. The moveset is pretty similar to the zombies in the snow, especially with this mace user. They swing a couple times once they die. There are more. Okay. When I was the admiral, I had 80,000 troops. These ghostly troops dare to block my way. If it wasn't for my transformation, you would have fallen here for sure. Why not bow down to me as a way to thank me? Oh, they're gonna form together into a big one. Or not.
吃过一回亏，再无第二回。这等撒煞倒虚之徒不足为惧。我先过去探个实信，你小子速速跟上。
So these tricks, we're only gonna fall for it once. I'm gonna scout ahead, and we can follow slowly. Looks like a cow monster who got killed. a bunch of cow monsters who got killed. Alright, we got our relic. Now notice how it's missing a lotus seed. The passive effect is after we take any pills, extend the time of the effect of the pill. Huh. Not easier to get, I guess, seeds of herbs. We can hear the sound of the passive. Most of these don't actually have easily spot the leader of the enemy bosses. I don't think most of these actually have a passive effect. But anyways, we have choice between 3. After taking any pill, our next attack has a higher crit chance. Immobilize is AoE, so it's good against mobs, which I don't know if we often use it for mob purposes. Every single alcohol soaking material we have equipped will slightly increase the amount we heal per drink. Oh, we want this one. So basically, whatever this percentage is, which is not listed, we get that 3 times because we're using the 3 soaking material alcohol bonus. The final upgrades here, it's the 100 Eye Staff. Drop a little bit of crit chance, 5 more attack. Whenever we store up to hit enemy, we can recover. So that's the same passive. If the enemy is poisoned, the recovery effect from using nodes on a charge attack greatly increase. Okay, definitely want to get this, I think. New material. Lots of codex to cover. Alright, so we'll be here for a while. Let's see. These are the new enemies on this stage. So many now. Let's see if we can... There we go. Spirit troops. So like troops of the underworld. Melee troops and archers. They've been summoned by the local soil deity from hell. So basically they've been summoned from the underworld by the local soil deity. They're the lowest tier of underworld, troops. And every day they're supposed to finish up a lot of work to help maintain the rotation and the running of the underworld. So for them to be summoned into the mortal realm, it's like a vacation for them. They're the lowest tier in the underworld. They're basically treated as slave labor there, but being summoned up, it's a lot better for them. Then one day, 4 of them on patrol started to chat as they walked on patrol. Wow, they can talk. One pointed to this valley of, pill furnace. Look at the lavas there. And I start to think about my task back in the underworld. For those who committed arson after they die, they enter our bronze cauldron hell. So there are different levels of hell in, I guess these would be Chinese mythology. They punish you depending on how you entered hell. And in this case, if you are arson and you kill people, when you kill them with fire, your punishment once you go into the underworld is to enter the bronze pillar hell, where you become naked and you have to hug this burning hot bronze pillar so that you can feel the pain as well. And to maintain the burning of the pillar, my job was to keep fanning and keep adding firewood. And also I have to peel away the burnt on flesh of the victims on the pillar. It would be a lot easier for my job if we just borrow some of these flowing lava. So basically making a comment on the terrain. And also his old job. The other one heard about this and also started complaining. And he says, my job was to deal with those who betrayed loved ones when they were alive. After they enter hell, they would go to the metal tree or the iron tree prison, and they would get sharp knives stabbed into their back because they're backstabbers. And then we would hang them up on the iron tree, which is made from sharp blades. So every day, my job was to grind these blades so they're sharp and frequently fix the trees as you have these flesh that gets cut off and drips down from the tree. And we have to use needlework to patch it back together and then drag them back up the tree and then hang them up again. So basically, they slip off their knife that's stabbed in their back, and we have to patch them up and then stab them on the back again, then hang them back on the tree. And from what I can see, the big metal ball here would work a lot better. So there's some big metal ball. So basically, they're also warning us from the codex of what terrain we have to deal with. There's going to be flowing lava here. There's going to be some sort of big metal ball here. And the third one says, you guys are lucky. What I dealt with are those who mutilized any sort of beast, animals, before they died. After they died, they will enter our cow pit prison, where there are fire cows that would stampede over them, and that would use their horn to stab them. So aside from maintaining these fire cattle by feeding the cattle, we have to also do the hoof jobs and put, the metal horseshoes, or I guess cow shoes, basically horseshoes on these cows. We have to grind their horns sharp, and we also have to dig out those victims from long ago who's now ready minced meat, or else more hoofs will sink into these fleshy puddles. And in my opinion, it's a lot better if we use the flaming war carts. Oh, we're going to be dealing with the red boy, Hong Haier. He had the flaming war cart in the novel. Okay, so we're probably at Huoyanshan, the burning mountain. And the red boy is the son of the Iron Fan princess and the bull demon king. And this is their terrain. And and then we're back to our story. The last patrol. Yep, Huoyanshan, they name it. So we are in the fire burning mountains. And he looked at the view and says, man, this fire mountain is so good. Look at it. It looks like a perfect place for a prison in hell. And the other three hears him, and they all basically chides him, feeling like he didn't continue their trend of describing their previous jobs, and the conversation ends right there. So this codex more or less do kind of warn us about what we're going to face over here. Now, about the archer. The kingdom of Yuetuo, in the south camp of the military, there was just a regular troop. I guess Huotobing means he's in charge of the food. He's the army cook. Every day his job is to deliver food to the troops, and frequently he can see there are people who would like to shadow him from afar. Now, he's quite brave, so he ran up to block the person who was shadowing him and discovered that that was not actually a person, but a human puppet. And in this human puppet's hand is a bow, but there are no arrows, so it's quite strange. Now, the cook believes he never done anything wrong, so he doesn't feel like he's being punished for anything. He's basically yelling out loud, saying, "Why do you always follow me?" And even though this human puppet doesn't have any of the facial parts, like no eyes, no nose, no mouth, no ears, but you could hear a sound coming out of its stomach and says, in your previous life, you and me were from the same village, and we used to work together as troops in the same place. Eventually, I was injured by an arrow in a foreign land fighting, but you abandoned me and ran away, basically to live. But this is the previous life, right? This is the cook's previous life. and I was abandoned in the wild, eventually dying from the wound that I suffered. And I just can't let it go. I refuse to go into reincarnation. So the king of the underworld made me into a soldier of the underworld, and I'm here to seek revenge against you. The cook says, then why don't you kill me? The puppet raises his bow and says, this bow can only shoot the underworld arrows. Your life, this life, right? This life of yours, in this lifetime, you've been a just man. And because of this, I can't find an arrow to shoot you. So I have to just linger. Now, after the cook heard this, he asked if he can do anything to help him. And the puppet becomes quite angry. This was all your fault. You should be the one paying for your crimes. Why are you trying to help me? And then he says, how about this? If you bow down, 磕头, so basically like bow your head all the way down, and for every time you hit your head on the ground, if you recite Buddha's name, I will actually get a chance to reincarnate. So after hearing this, the cook became quite angry and says, you got shot in an enemy kingdom. I'm not the one who shot you. You weren't able to dodge the arrow, and it's not like I pushed you. And if I tried to save you, that would be considered like, extreme loyalty and friendship. But even if I didn't save you, right? He's trying to explain his previous life, saying that if I didn't save you, it's still reasonable. How could you turn around and blame me? So after he says this, he raises up the lid of the pot that he was carrying, and he smashed this human puppet into pieces. After the human puppet kind of split apart, it became this gust of wind and sand and just disappeared. And the lesson is, even ghosts are afraid of evil people. And if you are, humans who do things should reflect being kind as a core. It's good, but you also have to protect yourself. Do not let others use your goodwill against you. And sometime when you do that, they might come back and blame you. I think this is more of an allegory by the developer for a lot of things, a pretty common societal problem in China in terms of, in particular, like old people. Like if you see an old man on the street who falls down, right? Kind of not similar to this case, but you can draw parallels. If you're just a bystander, do you go and try to help him up, right? That's a pretty common sense thing you might think. But the problem is there are a lot of people, after you help them up, they place the blame on you, right? They're basically saying, oh, did you push me? Or did you injure me when you were trying to help me up? Like they basically grasp onto you because you cared, that they tried to take advantage of your kindness. And there are cases that actually went to court where in the end, one of the defending lawyers for one of these guys who fell down, who's trying to abuse the situation, says, if you didn't, and the conclusion is like, if you weren't the one to push him, then you shouldn't be the one to help him up. And it's putting society and people who want to be kind in such an awkward situation. Obviously not everyone's like this, but it just takes a few to kind of ruin something that's good. In this case, they're arguing the same thing. I didn't shoot the arrow at you. Yes, I was there. If I helped you and rescued you, then yes, that's me being extra kind. But if I ran away to save my own life from, this same situation that you were in, enemies shooting arrows, that's a very reasonable thing. So how could you place the blame of you getting shot on me? All right, we also have our 100-Eye Demon Lord. Can this work, Senior Disciple? as the purple shirt old lady, lowered her head, afraid to look into the eyes of the 100-eyed demon. So this is the conversation between him and the old spider lady. He lifted the needle in front of the old lady and says, "Swallow the relic left behind by the monkey and use this treasure. If it doesn't work, run to me and I will help you, stand up to the threat." So basically he gives the relic to the spider lady to try to help her heal, and the needles to help her, brainwash and control Bajie so that she can have her wedding. And then he thought about something else and says, "If you don't do it and I, take care of this business, then you might never see that pig again." So hearing this, she grabbed the needle, bowed down out of respect and thanked him and backed away. After the door closed, behind the blinds came out a deity, the crane deity, who's carrying this duster. And he looked at the demon lord and said, the 100-eyed demon says to him, "Once we control the pig, the destined one will be no threat." The crane deity kind of ignores his statement and sighs. The little things you're planning, the emperor sees it all. He's ignoring it because he's giving a little bit of respect to her. And here I think the story is the 100-eyed deity, or the 100-eyed demon, is working, like being controlled as a pawn for the Celestial Empress. Now, the Celestial Empress, despite the name, Wang Mu Niao Niao, right? She's not the wife of the Jade Emperor, the Celestial Emperor. They are kind of equals. One controls the Celestial Court in the heaven, one controls the Kunlun Mountain. They're not husband and wife relationship. In some traditional folklore, the Jade Emperor is actually the husband of the moon deity, not Chang'e, but Taiyin Xinjun, right? Depending on which versions of the story you read. So when we saw the last cinematic, there's versions of interpretation where the male is the Jade Emperor, who's technically the husband of the Taiyin Xinjun, the moon deity. So because Bajie lusted over, that's the punishment, even though that's not the real version from the Journey to the West, right? In the Journey to the West, Bajie wasn't after the main lunar deity. He was after one of the lunar maidens, one of the Chang'es, essentially. But anyways, the crane deity works for the Jade Emperor and says the Emperor knows what you guys are doing. He's not, doing anything about it because he still want to save face and don't want to encroach on the business of the Celestial Empress. So basically, they're under the control of the Kunlun Mountains. If you want to think about how many main factions there are within the deities, you have the Jade Emperor with his court, which includes pretty much all the main Taoist deities. You have Wang Mu Niao Niao, the Empress, who controls the Kunlun Mountains, and a lot of other, deities there as well. They're very close alliance with the Jade Emperor, so oftentimes seen as together. And then there's the Western realm, which is the Buddhist realm. Buddha and his Pusa and Jinggang and everyone else. So that's like the three main power factions here in terms of the gods. And this is where we were in chapter 4. It's the workings of Kunlun. And the crane deity is visiting and saying that we know what you guys are trying to do here, but the Jade Emperor is just not acting on it. The 100-eyed demon laughs or just dry laughs and says, "The Empress, what the Empress' intention is, she feels like the other side got too many benefits out of this, and this is a chance for us to get payback with interest." So the other side here is the Buddhist side. She felt like, so basically, the Celestial Empress feels like the entire Journey to the West situation is a Buddhist pushed event, right? Buddha is trying to push this journey to the West to spread the teaching of Buddha to East, and also doing so many little things with the trials along the way. And she feels like the Taoist deities are getting too little back for this entire thing. And that using this opportunity of Wukong's relic here, they can get payback. Now, the crane deity whipped his duster to the other side as though he was chasing away a fly, and just casually says, after you complete your mission here, you can leave. But they have to stay. So they here, they use the female version of they, implies the spiders. So basically, this little breeding farm that they set up to create material for the den, after he served his mission, he's allowed to leave. But the spiders still have to be trapped here, which is why we see the fourth sister with the seals trying to trapping her. She's trying to leave, right? Because she found love too, with the hair tied up and the dowry situation, and pretty much she definitely married a previous version of the Destined One. Now, this news that he can leave made him ease his brow as he deeply bowed back to the deity. So he's just doing this to try to free himself from the situation. He still, once again, doesn't care about the spiders that much. Oldest sister, third sister, fourth sister, fifth sister, and the youngest sixth sister. A lot of stories here. The oldest sister is the most gentle one, and she treats her younger siblings like a mother, down to the smallest detail of their daily life. And because of this, even, the second sister who's in charge of managing the entire state, or the very independent fourth sister, they still, behave quite well in front of their oldest sibling. Every day, she's tasked with taking care of like the food in the cave, the clothes everyone wears. If there's a fight, if someone's sick, they would all seek out for her. If someone's happy, someone's sad, they will also look out for her, and this keeps her quite busy. So she's like the mother figure of the cave. Those small monsters who come pass messages in front of her, there's always a big line of them, and they would say things like, "Oh, Da Nai Nai," which is basically like the eldest lady leader of the cave. The second and the fourth sisters have been fighting again. The fifth one is lecturing one of the weavers, and now they need more manpower. Can't we move someone from one place to another? The sixth sister, when she's cultivating, she ended up hurting her flow of energy. Can you go take a look? So basically all sorts of things require her. And then one day, the old lady, the mother, called her to her side, and they walked into one of their little small altars. And she can see that her mother is enjoying the sight of some flowers under the tree. The mother waves her hand, and she goes over and says, "The flowers in this shrine or altar area, it's better than those in the heavens." I guess she would know, actually. She used to be a lunar maiden. But at this time, outside the doors, the small monsters in charge of making food is waiting for her to set the menu for the day, and also to set up how to breed the next batch of bugs, as well as other things. So she's busy, so she says, "Mother, what do you need to tell me? Why have you summoned me?" And her mother just basically grabs her hand and says, "It's nothing. I just want you to come and look at the flowers with me." As she kindly, smiled at her oldest daughter. "I'm afraid they're going to tire you out." And she looked at her mother and thought about many, many years ago when mother held her hand in front of the same peach tree. And at the time, the flowers were so beautiful, and the mother was so beautiful too. So she's quite old, but her mother is basically worried that she has to take care of the whole household and didn't want her tired out and just wanted to give her a break. Pretty lovely family stuff. Third sister. So she's quite proper. She's also very well-tempered, enjoys reading and practicing calligraphy. Okay, so she sees that many of her younger sisters are still really young, and her two older sisters are super busy, right? The oldest is managing everything in the cave. The second oldest is managing all the weaving. So what she basically decided to do is that she's going to focus on weaving. So she's basically with needleworks, and she became the best weaver in the family. Now, because the second sister is in charge of all the business, and that includes a lot of the business outside the mountain, some of their linen factories and sales. So she actually got the chance to take care of how to design some of the new weaving. And all the new weavers are trained by her. Now, because she has a very kind composure and she's very soft to speak with, many times she's find it hard to get these monsters to listen to her. So the fifth sister became her best helper. So she's in charge of teaching weaving, and the fifth sister brings out a ruler to slap at the hands of those who don't pay attention or who's not learning well. And if they don't listen, the fifth sister tells the second sister directly, and none of the workers in the factory get spared. They get thrown into cocoons and then basically be made into food. Now, speaking of the oldest and second sister who are so busy, the fifth sister, ever since she was young, she follows the third one around. But the third one's so quiet, so the fifth sister became her other side. She's the loud one, and the two of them would often argue and mess around, but this made the days go by much faster. The third sister often read in books. They read a lot of books, and some of these books, there are strange tales, and every time she reads them, she feels so much interest, and she wanted to visit and actually see many of those sceneries described in books. But she told herself she's not going to be dumb enough to fall in love with some, outlandish scholars, as many of the monsters in those stories end up dying. Like the fox we read. Yeah. Alright, the fourth one. Let's see if we actually get some clues about the marriage. And you can see her hair. She has a distinctly different hair. Many years ago, when the Scorpion King brought his 4 sons to the Yellow Flower Temple, the 100-Eyed Demon was quite jealous of their stinger's power, as after all, the stinger was able to hurt Buddha, right? So he promised that the Scorpion family, the sons, will get arranged marriage with one of the spiders. So he summoned the old spider lady and asked her to bring 4 of her daughters to come, have a meet and greet, see if anyone can match up. Now, as they took a seat, the 100-Eyed Demon let the 4 Scorpion sons, show off. And the oldest Scorpion son stands up, slaps his chest, and says, "My skills are passed on directly by my father. I am the most manly of my siblings. And if any of you sisters want to marry me, there's no need to be shy." All the girls, frown a little bit. And the second Scorpion quickly stood up and says, "There's no need to be concerned. My older brother, he's a straight talker. Even though he's strong, even though he is the strongest, I'm not so bad myself. If you guys pick me as the husband, I'll definitely have the ability to kind of expand, the cave and make things better and stronger." And after the 100-Eyed Demon heard about this, he wasn't so happy. And the girls also weren't so interested in this, so he looked towards the third Scorpion. And after seeing everyone looking at him, the Sword Scorpion stood up and says, "Yeah, my older brothers are all great people, great Scorpion, I guess in this case. And my younger brother is also quite good." So he basically didn't talk about himself. And he says, you guys can go take a look at them. Now, because how shy he was about this, the fourth scorpion was kind of mad and not very happy about his statement. Stand up says, my third brother's personality is a little bit twisted. Don't laugh at him. Even though I'm the youngest one and had the least year of cultivation, but I also have the, best potential. So picking me is like picking the future. Afterwards, the demon lord asked the 4 daughters to express their opinion on the situation. The oldest daughter says, we have many sisters and our mother is still sick. So I can't really, so she's burdened by this entire family. So because of this, she's basically saying, I'm not ready for marriage. So let my younger sister take this and I can wait a few more years. The scorpions shake their head, expressing their regret that they couldn't marry the oldest daughter. The second daughter gives out a laugh and says, I'm in charge of the whole family business. There are a lot of holes to patch. If I get married, basically the business has many holes to patch as in like they need money. If someone, marries into the family, which one of you think you can have the money to fill these holes? If you have the money, I'll think about it. Now, because the Scorpion Mountains already kind of fallen apart, the refugees, they have no wealth. So the way she's framing it feels like it's impossible to marry her. So the third sister, she's fanning herself. She's the scholarly one. And she says, I want to marry, the one who's gifted in music. I want to marry the one who's gifted in poetry. Of the four of you in front of me, have any of you read? So basically, she listed a particular poet. She likes his poems. Have any of you read him? And of course, the 4 scorpion sons don't even know what poems are. So of course, they don't know who Loyan is. So third sister fell apart as well. So everyone's looking at the 4th sister. Now the 4th sister is sitting at the end of the table, and she hasn't been paying attention. She lets out a soft, just sound, and says that my older sisters have been too polite and have been gently letting you guys down. I'm worried that they might not understand the situation. And if we really want to, talk about it in the open, it's basically you guys want us, our spider family, to kind of lose money on this marriage to help them basically restore their mountain. And they're just basically like silver gilded rotten spears. So basically looks kind of fancy, but deep down inside they're all useless. If they really had skills, why don't they try to make something of themselves? Why try to marry into our spider cave? And after she made things so plain, everyone started to criticize her for being rude, and everyone apologized, but the talk of marriage died right there. Alright, 5th sister. Just the right age, so very young, very beautiful. And that night, when the clouds are covering the moon and a cold wind passes through the ridge as though a sudden rain's about to explode, the 5th sister is accompanying her 2nd sister in the village above, trying to take a look at how the small monsters are finishing the work, right, in the Weaver estate. And from far away, they see a scholar who's coming here to take shelter from the rain. And she's suddenly have a feeling of, playfulness and want to prank him. This is the scholar who fell through everything. There's a connection to all the stories before. Now, the scholar was kind of dumb, and he was worried that the rain would make his bookcase wet, as the books inside is afraid of water. So he ran right into this abandoned village and didn't discover any of the monsters as he just rushed into a room, locked the door, lit up an oil lamp as the rain poured down outside. And looking outside the window, he suddenly got inspired to craft a poem, as he basically wrote a poem on the spot. And with the sound of thunder, he sees the door shake, but paid no attention to it, and continued to craft his poem. As he finished another stance, he can feel the windows shake, and he thought it must be the wind and the rain. So he hurried up and shut the windows tight. And despite, all these things happening, he still finished reciting his new poem, and he's felt quite good about it. But then suddenly hears a knock on the door. He leaned in against the paper door, right? The window paper on the door. So the door has like these little window frames. In China, they used paper to craft windows for the longest time. Basically, it's like they make the paper into a paste and they put it on top of these wooden frames, and it would form the windows. So he's leaning into the window, and from this, the outline, he can see this slender figure. And this shook him, because he predicted this beautiful lady in the middle of the night in this abandoned village must be a monster. But then he thought about it. Given his current predicament, if he's going to die, after being seduced by a beautiful monster, he doesn't feel so bad about it. And as he had this thought, he stands up, the door suddenly bursts open. And he doesn't really see any beautiful monster, but just this female ghost with her hair down, with her eyes like tumors that has like mucus flowing down. And he gets really scared, let out a scream, and knocks the person aside, the female monster he sees, and just runs outside. And outside the door, the fifth sister, she's playing with her finger and leaning up against the wall. And she got knocked to the side as he's dashing out. And she's quite angry as she stepped into the room. And she's cursing out at the scholar not knowing how to, take care of beauty. And just happened at this time, she sees this old bronze mirror on the bookshelf. She grabs it and looks at herself and sees that the rainstorm had washed off all her makeup. And there's just this puddle of, different makeup dripping on her face. And with her hair down and all wet, it's definitely a sight to behold. And she's not really mad at him anymore, as she laughs out herself at the sight of herself. So this is not that scholar. This is just some random scholar, and she's just the playful girl, the fifth one. Bajie's daughter. You can see the little strings and the pig. She's the youngest one. Within the spider's cave, there's no one who's the same age as the sixth sister. So normally she would stay together with all her older sisters, and everyone's very gentle to her. But only the fourth sister would force her and drill her on her cultivation. Sometime when she has trained too hard, the fourth sister will lead her to the mountain peak so she can get a view of the world outside, as the fourth sister will tell her stories of the world outside. And even though she really liked following her fourth sister, she realized that her fourth sister often goes into the mountains to poke around about things that are secrets that she should not know. And the fourth sister always says it's dangerous and doesn't want to bring her. So she gets quite bored without her fourth sister. Then one day, there was a feast to enjoy the blooming flowers in the mountain. And from Wushan, so a distant mountain in the south, there are monsters who came in bearing gifts. And after passing on, the words from their master, they're allowed to stay and enjoy the feast. Her older sisters are too busy hosting the guests and taking care of their mother, so she gets to play around by herself. And the bug monsters who are in charge basically ended up getting the job to take her around and play with her. But there are 2 drunk pig monsters. Oh, right. The monsters from a distant mountain. The pig monsters that we entered chapter 4 with. After they see the sixth sister, then they point at her and says, Is it that one? And the other pig monster says, yes, that's the one. The sixth daughter feels like she's the topic of other people's discussions, being talked behind her back. She's not very happy about it. And she asks, why do you pig monsters point at people and say this and that? Now the bug monster in charge who's bringing her around quickly gives a look at those 2 pig monster. And the 2 pig monster says, little girl, let us tell you a secret that everyone knows but you. The bug monster quickly tried to stop them, but the sixth daughter, with a very serious face says, tell me. And the 2 pig monster laugh and says, your father is a pig too, so you're related to our family. As in, like, we're pigs, your father's a pig, so you have a little pig blood in you. Originally, they thought they would see the little girl get angry and jump around on their feet. But little did they know, the little girl basically smirked her mouth a little and didn't really care about it. And says, is it because you guys have very low cultivation that you try to get a connection with someone like me? If my mother, is able to pick someone out and, have a kid with them, it's definitely not something as dirty as you guys. As she finished the sentence, even the pig monster feel like, it's not really worth continuing the conversation, so they no longer joke about her in the future. Alright, so we nailed it. Let's see, 15 entries of, we got 2, so basically 17 new ones for this chapter, 4 bosses, 6 characters, and 9 elites wait for us. We pulling to go find a shrine first. There we go. A shrine and a monster. It's a cow monster. It's the cow guardian from the first chapter. Except for he has a flaming battle axe now. And therefore no new entries. Wait, we have aggro from someone else. There we go. We have one more important story to tell. Ooh. Taoist fire scrolls on a burnt piece of wood as the new soil deity shrines for this chapter. New armor set. Greatly reduce the continuous damage of poison status, and when we're poisoned, we get a great big boost to attack. Yeah, interesting set. We have the full bonus. After killing enemy, slightly increase our attack for a certain amount of time. If we have the gold thread, we'll think about it. I want the new weapon though. Then we need to make a trip back to where would it be close? Maybe here? We're trying to go to the place where you enter the Purple Cloud Mountain, but we don't want to go to the Purple Cloud Mountain, if that makes any sense. There's a very important item and also story element that we need to cover before we end this episode here. I think it's on the other side over here. We didn't really explore this area enough for me to know the map, but I think it's just directly this way. They have a drop that we could get 3 copies of. I think I have 1 copy. So I don't mind killing another one. I think this is the way. Basically, we're going to explain why one of the Lotus pod is empty on our relic. Because clearly when we got it, when it spawned out of end of the boss fight, it was full. But the version that we picked up is not full. It's missing a pod. Wait, no, this is the mushroom area. This is not right. Was there a turn that I missed? Maybe here? Well, we came up from this direction, right? No, this is right. Perfect. That tree. The very empty area when we first came by, right? This is where we fought the Black Hand Taoist. And then we got the drawing right over there, which lead us to the Purple Cloud Mountain. But over here, this giant tree made no sense when we came here the first time. Because this is a cemetery. This is the tomb of the spider. And over here, we have a gift from her lover, a 定颜珠. So, 定颜珠, what this is, it's a gem, but the way it's being framed is that it's a piece from the relic. Now, what this really is in a real life story version is that in the past, when people get buried, especially nobility, they want to think about ways to preserve their flesh in case they can absorb enough cultivation energy and come back to life. Even after you die, you can still keep absorbing energy. So they would do all sorts of things to try to protect their flesh. Some versions would be soaking yourself in different medicinal liquid. And in the case of like Changsha's Mawangdui, so one of the tombs from the Western Han Dynasty in Changsha, when they dug it up, this is quite recent, within the last 2 decades, the female wife of the government official's tomb, right, the wife of the government official whose tomb this was for, her coffin was soaked in this liquid that made her flesh preserve. So now it's like 2,000 years since she's been buried, and when she got on Earth, her body was not rotted at all. I mean, it doesn't look like a normal human because it's bloated from all the liquid, but none of her flesh rotted away. And you also see other tombs from this time period where they would wear these little jade covered armor. So they would take like precisely cut jade, weave it together, sort of like an armor piece, like a scale mail, and they would put it on the dead person's body because they believe the jade will protect your skin from rotting away. And they would also oftentimes take different type of pearls or like precious stone, in this case, 定颜珠 here, and have the person who's dead swallow it and keep it in their mouth as a way to protect them from rotting. And 定颜 means to keep your look, right? To keep your basically your appearance. So this particular pearl here is Bajie's intention of protecting his lover's body so that she might get a chance in the future to revive herself. Anyways, the effect for this, 还魂后, to return. So basically, whenever we come back from a transformation, I guess. for a pretty long period, we get our health, mana, stamina cap increased. But yeah, pretty easy to miss item. But this would be her tombstone, basically. I guess these represent... These look like little deities, though. Not really to represent her kids. But anyhow, we're going to end our episode here. We'll continue our journey in Chapter 5. There's a couple other things we can do, like there's going to be new items from the 6-6 village. We can start our episode next time from the 6-6 village, buy some new stuff, craft some new gear, and head to Chapter 5 and see what's waiting for us there. So until then, bye!